Hi there, this is Veronica. Today I'll be making a simple satchel bag with a forest theme. So print out the patterns and make them into templates. We will have two of these front and back panel and a lid. And I'll be using a tuck lock for this project. And we'll also have a handle on top of the lid. And there'll also be a front pocket. And the gazette will be made out of 3 pieces on 2 of the side and 1 of the bottom. And I'm going to use vegetable tan leather for the front pocket. Here I cut out a piece of leather that's a bit larger than the pocket. It's better this way when you do any sort of decoration on top of the leather. Here I use some plain clear stamp to add the characters for the forest theme. Then I'm going to dye the leather. I'm using a combination of green and yellow dye and dilute it with some alcohol. This will make the dye distribute more evenly. I'm also going to saturate the leather with some water. This also helps to evenly dye the leather. Then I'm going to use a piece of magic block to dye the leather. So for the forest theme, I'm trying to have the front pocket to be like the spotlight of the satchel bag. And to do so, I'm using the color of green and yellow to imitate the sunlight in the forest, the yellowy green color. And after the dyeing process, I'm going to apply a layer of leather conditioner on. And this is going to soften the leather. Then we will leave it to dry overnight. And the next day, I'm going to put on the leather finisher on top. This is going to help seal the color so the dye wouldn't be rubbed off while using. I'm going to bevel all sides of the front pocket. Then we're going to install the lock onto the front pocket. I use the pattern to position the lock, then install the lock on. On the back of the front pocket, I'm going to use pigskin as liner. So I cut out a piece of liner that's a bit larger than the front pocket. Then glue them together. Then trim off the excess. In this way, it will make the edge more crisp. Then we'll finish all the edges of the front pocket. After that, I'm going to reinforce the top edge of the front pocket because this is going to be the opening side. So I'm going to sew it up. Moving on, we're going to make the front part of the bag. For the rest of the bag, we're going to use these brown oil tan leather. So cut out all the leather pieces according to the templates. And for the front panel, we're going to use the template to draw the guideline for the front pocket. And here I use an alt to scorch the edge of the guideline. And on the edge of the front pocket, I use a sandpaper to make the edge rough. This is to make it easier to glue. Sew up the front pocket. and also finish the top edge of the front panel. Then I decided I want to give more depth to the front pocket, so I dab on some green dye along the sewing lines. Moving on, we're going to prepare the D-ring attachments. On the side of the D-ring attachment leather pieces, I'm going to finish the edge of the middle section on each side. Then apply glue on each end of the leather pieces. Then place the D-ring in the middle and fold the leather up. Then the D-ring attachment is ready. So 2 of these is going to be attached onto the gusset. So here are 2 leather pieces for the side of the gusset. Use the template to draw the guideline for the attachments. Then glue and stitch them together. Next we'll be attaching the bottom of the gusset to the side. So glue the bottom onto the side. And sew them together. At the corner of the gusset, I'm going to cut the curved line to match the front and back panel. For the patterns you download, this part is fixed to match the curved line. On the back side of the gusset, I'm drawing the folding line where we're going to fold the gusset so it sits on the front and back panel better. And I use a tip of the knife to scorch the line we drew to make it fold up better. So fold the gusset inward, then we'll be moving on to finish the lid and the back panel. We will have 2 pieces of leather to make the handle. We'll have one of the longer strip and one of the rectangle leather. So first, finish 2 short side and 1 long side of the rectangle leather piece. And also finish the edge on the long strip where there's no stitching holes. Place the D-ring into the strip, then fold out the strip, and the 2 ends is going to meet in the middle of the long strip. Then we will wrap it around with the rectangle leather piece. Glue and stitch them together. Then we can attach the handle onto the lid. Use the template to position the D-ring attachment and glue and stitch it onto the lid. On the back of the handle, I'm going to add a piece of stiffener. This is to make the lid doesn't deform when using the handle. It provides the structure and the strength for the handle. Then I'm going to finish the back of the lid with the same pigskin we used for the front pocket as liner. And first we're going to just glue the front part and finish stitching for the front part. This is going to make it more durable because the lid is going to be frequently used. And it's also make it look more finished. And to glue the rest of the lid with the liner, it's important to fold the lid into the shape you want. Cut out of the excess of the liner, then finish all the edges of the lid. Then we will attach the back of the lid onto the back panel. Glue and stitch them together. Glue the front and back panel onto the cassette. Sew them all up, then finish the edges. Then we will install the other part of the lock onto the lid. Now the main bag is basically finished. We'll just have some more touch up to make it more completed. Here we're making the fabric liner for the bag. I'm using the templates to make the liner. The length will be one front panel with one cassette, and the length would be one front panel and a half of a cassette. And simply sew all sides of the fabric up. Then we'll glue that directly on the inside of the bag. Then we'll make the shoulder straps for the bag. We'll be using one longer strip and one shorter strip. And we're going to attach a D-ring hook on one end of each strip. On the other end of the shorter strip, we're going to install a roller buckle with a leather ring. And for the longer strip, the other end will be the buckle holes for the roller buckle. Attach the shoulder straps to the bag, then now the bag is all complete. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.